the FICA, does this replace the FICA as well?
You're still going to have, you're going to have your 9% personal income tax. When you talk about your Social Security and Medicare, we have to do something with that, but we can't get rid of it. And so you're going to have to pay some of those withholdings as well. Now, what we've talked about is going to a private system where older workers who've been promised Social Security will get it, and then younger workers like myself will move to a private system. Right now, Social Security isn't going to be there for me. Now, I have an obligation to take care of the folks who gave me the opportunities that I have today. And so we're not out to take Social Security away from the folks who've been promised. But we have to transition away. That's a sacrifice that we're going to have to make as younger workers to take care of the promises that we have. But you'll see substantially more in your check. Right now, most people are probably seeing somewhere between 25 and 28% withheld from their paycheck every week. Under 999, that's probably closer to 15 after you have to account for Social Security. So that's an immediate 13% increase in your paycheck. What you also see, it is true that you're going to pay 9% national sales tax on top of your state sales tax, but what you'll see with a lower corporate income tax is a reduction in the price of goods. The market will reset the prices to reflect the savings that the corporation has. And we as consumers will demand that the prices come down to adjust for that. Right here.
And on his website, this is 999 is phase 1. And phase 2 is the implementation or phasing of the fair tax program. Is there a time, does it have a time?
Well, what the economists will tell you about the fair tax for folks who don't know, is a national sales tax. What they'll tell you is the economy needs to be strong for that to work. For it to be at a rate 23, 24% for it to work, we have to have a strong economy. Unfortunately, we're not there now. What 999 would do is give us a chance to implement that. The other problem that you have with going to a national sales tax is you've got to get rid of the 16th Amendment. I don't think that any president can do that in 8 years. To get the implementation through, to get the economy to a point where it would support it, and then get the amendment through to implement it. Because you've got to get rid of the entire Internal Revenue Code first. And so 999 is the transition to allow that to happen. Yes, ma'am.
I have a couple of questions. With regards to where you say you're talking about Social Security and Medicare, that those should phase out. When it comes to the retirement pay and the benefits that Washington gets and all the employees there, I mean, if you serve for what, 1 year, 2 years, you get your pension for the rest of your life, you get your benefits, which are Cadillac plans and health care. And
Right.
what happens to all those? Are those going to, I mean, why? I guess my biggest question is, what are you going to do to put yourself or put the people there on our level? Because we
Right.
should all be playing on the same level.
Well,
Number one.
and that's important.
That is very important.
Well, we had a meeting with Governor Daniels, and he talked about there's a lot of thought about what government is there to do. It's there to provide goods maybe that the market wouldn't otherwise provide. Certainly that's a great theory. But there's no reason that the government can't be more business-like. It shouldn't be on the same health care plans that the rest of us are on. That workers shouldn't be incentivized the same way that workers are in the private sector. There shouldn't be automatic pay raises and pay bumps. There shouldn't be mandatory pensions for these folks. You serve your 30 years and you cash out and put it on cruise control.
I mean, that there is a huge, I'm going to say, there's probably more going towards retirement and benefits for people in government than there are people that use Social Security and Medicare.
Well, there's certainly a fair amount of the budget. I don't think that that's necessarily true, but what the president can do is work with Congress to start peeling those benefits back. It certainly is going to take a strong business leader to do that, I think. And Herman Cain has done that with businesses, and I think he has the leadership to go down to Capitol Hill and say this isn't working. We've got to make government more business-like. We've got to make wages competitive so we attract the talent, but you offer them the same types of benefits that they would get in the private sector. And those aren't career pensions anymore.
Scott, I'd like you to repeat the questions after they ask them so that
Sure, so that
we're having a hard
everybody can
time
hear.
hearing back in the back.
Yes, sir.
The yellow.
Oh, I'll come back.
The trouble with the 999 is it doesn't have the prepaid. And the prepaid guarantees, the guys on the low end of the ladder, they don't pay any taxes. And that's the beauty of it, not the fair tax.
Well, all right, so he's asked, the fair tax has a component built into it with the, he asked about a rebate. That's a component of the fair tax. What the Department of Labor would basically do is take the average income of a family of 4 and give that back to every family for their sort of essential food, clothing, correct?
Yeah, the taxes that they pay on the essentials.
On the essentials, and so everybody starts on an equal footing.
And everybody gets that, from Bill Gates down to me. So you don't have to have a bureaucracy determining this guy gets it, that guy doesn't. That's beautiful. And to me, 999, not having that is inferior.
Well, you can't get to a national sales tax with a prebate.
I think the prebate would be the selling point.
In a 999 claim?
No, in the fair tax. The prebate, yeah, if you could put the, I think the prebate in the fair tax is a big selling point because the guys on the bottom of the income scale, essentially they wouldn't have to pay taxes as long as they don't buy a new car and a new house and so forth. You only pay when you're buying something new at retail. Or you go to your doctor's office, you pay $23. To me, it's so much superior to 999.
Well, and that, it is phase 2, but as I explained, we can't get to a,
Well, I think it'd be easier to get to that than it would be the 999.
Economy can't support it.
unfortunately, what our economists tell us is that the economy isn't strong enough to support it right now, to make that initial jump straight from.
With the fair tax, we'd be able to export. We wouldn't have all these taxes. And the industry wouldn't have to have all these attorneys looking for loopholes and so forth, Stuff would be so much cheaper.
Well, and, but that is the beauty of 999 as well. You get rid of your deductions.
Yeah, but you still got that income tax there.
You do, but we need to do something to jumpstart our economy, and that's the transition. Phase 1 is a 999 plan. Phase 2 would be your fair tax.
Well, can't come soon enough.
I hear you. I certainly hear you.
For people like on Social Security, as in the state tax, the state sales tax, food is exempt. Is food going to be exempt on?
Food is not exempt under a 999. What you do, though, is there are a couple things that would be exempt. Used goods are exempt. So a used car versus a new car would not incur a 9% sales tax. And to avoid a value-added tax situation, you don't have taxes on business-to-business sales. So it's just the final sale. But yes, food would be taxed under the 999.
Yeah, but with the prepaid, it wouldn't. You must actually buy up to the poverty line.
Anytime you tax food, tax the way. Got to eat. Don't have any choice. It's about 10%, about this rate. And people try to get away from that as much as possible, because that much is actually a deduction in their income, direct income. They have no, it's basically an income tax, so they don't have any control.
Well, but I do have some experience, kind of said, that live there. They don't have a state income tax.
It's not, that's not current,
Sure.
but they have, it's basically an income tax, but it's based on, not based on the income. So the person that makes $1,000 a day pays the same thing as the guy making $50. For food. It's not graduated.
That is correct. I mean, it's a straight across the board 9% tax.
Corporations never pay tax.
Oh, they do. Some do.
No, they don't pay tax. People that buy their product pay tax.
And that's what you would see with a 9% corporate income tax, is you would see that passed back to you, the consumer.
If you tax the people that run the corporation, shareholders and stuff, that percentage, not the corporation directly. If you tax the corporation for doing business at that rate, people pay it, they just added into there. But it costs for them to do business and whoever buys their product pays.
Well, that's correct, and under the current system, what you're paying is a 25% corporate income tax for most corporations. By reducing that to 9, that should come back to you as the consumer, correct?
Why would you reduce it to that?
Well, I mean, corporations do need to pay their share on their profits.
Yeah, but they don't, also the profit, yes. But they-
That's what's taxed under the 999 plan.
Corporations own business. Sure. They're the ones who be paying the tax, not the corporation. Name.
Well, and they
That's like
will.
a small business person. The person that owns the business pays the tax. The company actually doesn't pay the tax.
It comes out of dividends.
I mean, it does come out. It does come out. We'll move on. Yes, sir.
I have a question now, Herman. That's on this, several weeks back. He said that you wouldn't pay, the sales tax on a used car,
Correct.
a used home, or anything of that nature. It's strictly new houses, new cars, so on and so forth. On homes, now, does the contractor pay for the tax on the materials, and then you just buy the home, or does he pay tax on the materials, and then you pay tax on the complete home?
No, under the 999, this is the business-to-business sales portion. You wouldn't pay as the contractor your 9% for your materials. They'd be passed on at the final purchase.
So the contractor would not pay any tax on
Correct.
materials?
That is my understanding of how it's implemented. It's a business-to-business sale on materials, and it's just a 9% tax on the completed home. Yes, sir. But that is a good point, is that you don't pay it on used homes, you don't pay it on used cars, you don't pay it on a used washing machine.
I think Herman would be wise to express that. But again, getting back to the 9% sales tax on food and essentials, now the fair tax states that they would send everybody a $2,000 check or something to offset the essentials. I think it'd be wise if he could look into that and see if that's not feasible with the 999.
We will certainly take a look. Go ahead.
I had a question